This is the Nations Conspire channel. Welcome to today's show. There is propaganda, then there's propaganda on steroids. Then there is propaganda that is so ridiculous, that makes zero sense, that you wonder how they have the gall to even release this on the mainstream news. But we know the reason that they have the gall, or should I say the balls, to release news like this is because they have everybody under such hypnosis, under such a spell, that there actually will be sheeple out there that take an article like this seriously. And I want to thank Barry over on the website for sharing this with me. And again, I want to thank everybody who is over on the website who shares stories like this, because the only way I can get information like this out to people, whether it's something very, very serious that people should know about, or whether it's something absolutely so ridiculous it needs to be covered, so that maybe we could pull people out of this spell. And the only way I find stuff like this out is because of the people on the website who share links with me and share articles with me and with everybody else. So thanks to Barry, and thanks again to everybody who's over on the website. You're reading this headline correct. Cancer deaths and tax rates are linked in a surprising new study. So what this article I'm going to read for you in a few minutes says is that paying more taxes will help you not get cancer. That's right. Paying more taxes will help you not get cancer. Stating that researchers have found a link between states with high taxes and a reduction in deaths caused by cancer. Now, they tell us that this is from a new study. Now, I don't know who did the study. Maybe it was Beelzebub. Maybe it was just Pinocchio. But what's more scary about the study than anything else is that there will be people who actually believe it. But maybe this should bring attention to an important topic that I always discuss, right? When we hear stories about cancer rates, the lack of people who are able to have babies now, spikes in Alzheimer's, dementia. Maybe we should all step back. Instead of running and participating in a breast cancer awareness month, I think we're all aware at this point, maybe we should all just start questioning the things around us and how all of a sudden all of these problems, when we're supposedly such a sophisticated human being in the year 2025, where our technology is so amazing that you could take a dump and you could watch your favorite television show right on your phone. So why is it that in the year 2025, that not just cancer, so many diseases are so rampant, that so many people find themselves ill? Well, we could start by looking at the obvious. Let's try to wake people up, right? How about those huge towers that sit outside of most people's communities, sit inside most people's communities, sit on the side of every single highway? Now, have you noticed if it's made your phone download songs faster? Well, of course you haven't. Has it sped up your phone? Is it giving you better service? Well, of course it hasn't, because that's not what these towers are there for. These towers are nothing more than gigantic radiation towers. So maybe we should look there first when we're talking about spikes in cancer. Or perhaps we could just look at the devices that we're carrying around in our pocket every day. In fact, we know it's directly linked to the reason that most men and women can't have children anymore, because most men are walking around with these in their pocket, right? And I guess maybe the solution for them, instead of getting rid of the phone, is they probably would rather carry it around in a purse. But guess what? It's still going to be on your body, near your body, and on your head most of the day, including those earbuds that I've exposed in the past, which you might as well literally just glue your head to a 5G tower if you're walking around all day with those things inside your head. Or if you don't want to look in that direction at those towers, you could just look directly up. I know it's hard for most people, but you ever look up and see those trails in the sky and then realize, hey, how come it's all of a sudden really weird sky today? It's like haze in the sky. They don't even look like real clouds, because they're not. It's a chemical dusting. It's a chemical bath brought to you by your own government. Aluminum, barium, you name it, it's being dumped on you every day, and you're breathing it in every day. Or we could just talk about the foods that we go and purchase, because they've made this matrix so that it's very hard for you to farm on your own. Now, if you can farm on your own, it's even difficult to do that because of the chemtrailing, the sun shielding, the Monsanto dirt that they try to force everyone to farm with. So most people don't have the luxury to farm on their own, obviously. Most people have to work in the matrix to make money. And then when they make money, they're forced into the matrix grocery stores where they have to go and buy food to consume, but it's not really food, most of it. Unless, of course, you're getting something natural or organic from a local farmer. If you're going to the grocery store and you're getting things that are processed or in a bottle or a box, well, it's highly likely that your cancer rates are gonna spike, right? All the beverages, the canned beans, the condiments, some of the baby food, obviously we know the fast food, it's all got it right in there for you, right? Don't you remember when we've done deep dives on glyphosate and how it's found in most of our foods? And that's not natural, right? But at the same time, the government can come out and tell you, hey, we got a recall on your cereals. How come? Well, we got Roundup in there. Well, how did it get on the shelves in the first place? Isn't that the job of the FDA? Aren't you supposed to approve every single box before it gets on a shelf? Shouldn't you be held accountable if somebody is going and buying Cheerios and they end up consuming Roundup? Well, of course, they're not held accountable. None of the three-letter agencies are held accountable. Or how about we look at other cancer-causing things that they tell you do the opposite? Like sunscreen, right? How about that? They tell you to put this all over your body, put on your kid's body to prevent skin cancer. But is that what it really does? Or in fact, are you putting chemicals on your body that will give you cancer? Or we could just look at all the heavy metals that are constantly dumped in our food, the artificial colors that we find in our food, the nitrates and preservatives that they stuff in a lot of our cured meats, right? We can look at the spike in diseases for children with leukemia and formaldehyde and say, formaldehyde? How is my kid getting, isn't that poison? How are they getting formaldehyde in their body? Then you say, oh, don't you know what you're giving your kid when it's about 2 hours old and they come in the room and they look at you like you're nuts if you say, I don't want to put anything in my kid's body. They come in, they go, we got vitamin K. Hey, we're going to give your kid a Flintstone shot. And you just don't know what's going on because obviously you've gone through labor. So the mother has gone through one of the most probably trying times of their lives because it's a lot of work for the women. The man is probably very stressed out. Nobody's thinking straight. They're just thrilled that the baby's been born. The baby's healthy. Mom's healthy. Everybody could take a deep breath and celebrate. And then, of course, the doctors and nurses run in immediately and they'll make you sign a waiver if you refuse to get one of these things. And, of course, they shame you into getting it, almost practically telling you to your face that it's child neglect and child abuse right off the bat when your kid is less than 2 hours old. So that's usually where they get the formaldehyde in their bodies instantly, right? So let's look at the story because they want to tell you about cancer, deaths, and taxes. And if you want to believe stuff like this, you likely believe in the tooth fairy. You're likely 40 years old, still writing notes to Santa, probably still leaving out cookies and milk for Santa, or should I say Satan, or should I say Nimrod, while you're celebrating winter solstice, Saturnalia, thinking that you're actually celebrating the birth of Jesus and not even correlating what in the world Santa Claus has to do with Jesus, or what the Yule log, which is another thing in witchcraft, has to do with Jesus. But we won't get into that. Let's get into this, okay? So they say one possible association could be that the higher your taxes are, the more money you would have to buy healthier food and more luxury for relaxation and exercise. And it says that these findings suggest that state-level tax policies may play a role in addressing cancer care gaps and improving cancer outcomes, particularly for those who benefit most from guideline-recommended screening. Further research is needed to fully understand the mechanisms by which tax policies influence cancer outcomes and to identify strategies for maximizing the positive impact of these policies on all populations. And this article is from Fox News. Fox News is posting this, right? And I only emphasize that. We all know that it's obviously fake news. It's Fox News. But this is a conservative media outlet. Is anyone going to call them out for it? Is anyone going to say, you know what, I can't listen to Fox anymore? Of course not, because Fox has got their lips completely stapled to Donald Trump's rear end. So why would they turn the channel off? That's all that they care about is their left-right paradigm, being divided with other civilians and being a part of that team that they're on. So here's the first line from the article. People who pay more in taxes could be less likely to die from cancer. The link was revealed in a new study published in JAMA Network Open, which aimed to explore how state-level tax revenue impacts cancer screenings and mortality in the United States. Researchers from The Ohio State University, Emory University in Georgia, and the University of Verona in Italy analyzed 1,150 state years of tax data over a 23-year period between 1997 and 2019. They also reviewed population-level cancer screening rates and cancer-related deaths from Centers for Disease Control, the CDC databases. The states with the higher tax income were found to have increased cancer screening rates and decreased cancer mortality rates. For each $1,000 increase, first of all, who's paying these people to do this type of research? Somebody literally sat there and said, we should research taxes, who pays more taxes, and who gets cancer. You can't even connect the dots between taxes and cancer. All you could do is make it up, which is what they do with all their data. It's all make-believe, right? How would you even do this? What I just explained with the CDC and how they did it couldn't be more Oh, okay, so you found all the people who had cancer, you found people whose taxes. How about people who paid their taxes versus didn't pay their taxes? I bet their mortality rate's much higher, the ones that didn't file and didn't vote, who didn't consent to be governed and didn't consent to get cancer either, right? No, we won't go that route. So for each $1,000 increase in tax revenue per capita, the population had a 1.61% increase in colorectal cancer screening, a 2.17% increase in breast cancer screening, and a 0.72% increase in cervical cancer screening. Among those who had cancerous tumors, each $1,000 increase in tax revenue per capita was linked to up to 4% decreased death rates among white patients. The same reduced risk was not found for racial and ethnic minority populations, according to the study. Well, of course not. Isn't the large majority of audience who follows Fox News who put this out there, aren't they white males? I mean, putting this on Republican conservative media outlets, right? So state-level tax policy is an underappreciated social detriment of health that may improve cancer screening and mortality rates. These findings suggest that the state-level tax revenue may serve as one aspect of a multifaceted approach to improve cancer-related outcomes in the U.S. and help bridge cancer care gaps, particularly in more progressive tax policy settings. Prior studies have identified tax policy as a predictor of public health, particularly for infant mortality risk and overall healthcare outcomes. Tax revenue may serve as funding that promotes the common good by ensuring access to safe, healthy environments and quality healthcare, while progressive taxes can substantially increase the disposable income of working class households, thus enhancing their living standards and improving their health and cancer outcomes. Dr. Mark Siegel, Dr. Mark Bagel, clinical professor of medicine at NYU, said one possible association could be that the higher your taxes, the more money you would have to buy healthier food and more luxury for relaxation and exercise. Way to play into your audience. Having more money to pay for extra treatment, earlier diagnosis, and better care can also help prevent cancer death. The study did have some limitations, the researchers acknowledge. Yeah, I think it would have limitations. The fact that you can even correlate this and connect the dots between taxes, who's paying taxes, how much money they have, and then cancer on top. What are you getting, their medical records still? So you're getting their IRS and all that stuff, reports, income level, how much taxes they're paying, and then somehow what? Who are we calling, Dr. Zhivago? Are we calling Doogie Howser? How are you getting access? Well, I know, obviously. They can get access to all government docs. All your doctor stuff goes right to the government anyway, just like everything else. It's like this conversation that we're having right now goes right to the government, which is why channels like this never last on platforms like this. But nonetheless, ladies and gentlemen, this is the type of propaganda they're putting out. It's very, we're in a time period now where you would think, and of course we know that that's not going to happen because nobody knows how to think, that people would start asking the questions about where did cancer come from? Why do people have it? But they don't. They don't. You go up to one of these cancer marches, right? These things are so ridiculous. And look, if you run in one, I'm not making, it's not a knock on you. It's just frustration at this point. Everybody sees this in their town. Breast cancer awareness march. Who's going to come, right? And these people go and they put on their pink shirts, men and women, and they go and they run a mile, walk a mile. And you just stand there and go, oh, look at these sheeple. Look at them. Is any one of them going, where did it come from? It just popped up out of thin air. Well, something must have caused it to happen. Do we want to look at what's being put on our food? Do we want to look at what's being sprayed on us from the sky? Do we want to look at those towers and all the other things that I mentioned that we put on our body, soaps as well? All of these things that they sell to us kill us. No, they don't want to think like that. They go, what? That's too conspiracy. They'd rather just go, I don't know where it came from. I always say the only time most of these people believe in God is when something bad happens. They blame it on God. Oh, I got cancer. Why would God do this to me? You go, I didn't even think you believe in God. Oh, now they believe in God to blame God, right? Instead of blaming their government and blaming the people responsible for it who are poisoning them every single day. So these people continue to go to these awareness rallies, and none of them seem to have the slightest clue. There's no awareness there. It couldn't be less self-aware if you look at the people going to these, because none of them are walking around going, how many of these do I have to go to every year? How many millions of dollars do we need to raise before something's done? And they just sit there and wait, and eventually the government will come out and say we have a cure, because, of course, that's how they're going to get one of these ultimate vaccines inside your body, which Trump has already bragged about doing, which is going to have to do with artificial intelligence and monitoring under your skin, which I've covered. Thus, we're talking Mark of the Beast type of situation here where you're no longer human and you're gene edited. But that's what they're waiting for. It's just saying, you know what? Something is to this. And I need to explore what's around me, what I'm putting in my body. My body is my temple. And why so many people have this, right? Then you can just start reeling off the other things. I can't even believe that people aren't suspicious as to how nobody can have kids anymore. I mean, in the 70s and 80s, like if you didn't have 3 kids, it was weird. And that's if you're married. And I know they've obviously convinced a lot of people to not get married and have families anymore through the propaganda. But back then, right, you get married, you have kids. It was just the way that life went. And most families had multiple kids. You ever see some of these documentaries like the 60s and 70s? Like, oh, they had 6, they had 3 brothers, 3 sisters. Like, whoa, that'd be insane if you knew somebody had 6 siblings at this point. If someone has 3, you're kind of like, wow, they've got 3 kids. And then you go, what, did they IVF? Right? Because that's the next thing people think. They're like, nobody could have kids, but they could have IVF, which, you know, we don't need to go into debate about that and what that really is or partakes in, if it's even natural, right? But nobody seems to care because they know that they can go and get IVF and pay all this money to do it. Nobody's suspicious as to why no one could have kids ever since the cell phone has been put inside of people's pockets and they've been carrying it around all day. And their sperm count has died off. And most men don't have any testosterone, and people are depressed, people have anxiety, which actually brings you back to this whole topic about taxes and cancer, right? All taxes do are cause you mental health problems, stress, anxiety. You sit there and you go, why am I paying this? And that's exactly what you should say. And then, of course, we know the government's been baiting you recently by trying to show you where your tax money's going, by telling you, hey, it's going to Sesame Street, it's going to, transgender Elmo. And you go, what? Right? And you go, we need to do something about it. Well, of course we need to do something about it. But the people really, if they want to revolt, is to stop participating in the system. Stop voting. Stop paying your taxes. You start a new government. You don't have to do anything else. You don't have to insurrect. Don't participate. Turn it all off. Right? Stop feeding the beast. Stop giving attention to all of it. Stop letting it suck you in. Oh my gosh, you see what Trump did today? Oh, did you see what Biden did? And those crazy Democrats, oh, they're trying to read in kids' libraries again. Back and forth, back and forth. We shouldn't even be entertaining this government after the stuff that they put us through. After the outbreak, everybody should have just disbanded from the government. After what they did, you're fired, you don't have a job, you can't do this, you can't do that. You're not a member of society, they were telling people back in 2021. You can't be a member of society, can't go in a restaurant, can't go to a gym, can't go here, can't go there, right? And you go, well, does this make you immune? No. Does it cure it? No. So what's the point of it? Take it. That was it. And then they went, hey, on top of that, free lap dances. Who wants Arby's? We'll give you cancer as well. Come on down. We'll give you the shot and we'll give you some McDonald's human flesh burgers, right? We'll give you a gift card to McDonald's, right? Have some formaldehyde fries, Yeah, we'll give you this. We'll give you $100 gift cards. Who's paying for that? Well, we are, right? We had to even foot the bill for them to bribe people. Because that's what they did. How often does the government ever give anything away for free? Never. When they do, be suspicious. But when the government offers you cold, hard cash for things, how are you not suspicious? Well, in 2025, these people aren't. They've been trained to think that we're the problem. How could people think like us? How could people raise their voice? This guy raises his voice. He's extreme. That's what I get a lot. You don't sound Christian. Oh, I'm sorry. What am I supposed to do? Should I get my harmonica? Should I put a sweater on and comb my hair, have a comb over with some dandruff like most of these embarrassing 501c3 churches look because I don't fit the bill, because I'm not a CIA operation where you're supposed to look and sound the same exact way. You're only supposed to preach love and tolerance in the church. You can't say anything negative about what's going on. You can't talk about revelation in the synagogue of Satan. You got to just fit the company line, right? Love, love, love. And the next thing you know, these people are just yelling and screaming love as the Antichrist comes. And they're saying, he's so nice and sweet. I want to love on him, right? It's almost like if Satan came to your door, what are you supposed to do? Are these Christians going to go, we forgive you. Come and give you a hug, Satan. If he came to your, most of them have been trained to think and do that. So back to this. I'm going off on a little bit of a rant here about all of it, because it's all insane. How people out there aren't even asking questions about how these diseases happen, why people are sick, and they just sit there and they feed them stuff like this and they believe it. They believe it. Is anyone out there questioning this? No, probably not. Just us, just people who are wide awake, who are like, can you believe this? And you go, yeah, you can, because like I said, they sit in a room, they come up with this stuff, and they're laughing hysterically, watching people share it, watching people do monkey see, monkey do. They repeat it at the water cooler, and it just takes off. And they're laying on the floor laughing. And then those same people they're laughing at, they'll come out and defend them and come after us because they've been trained to. Conspiracy nuts. Yeah, conspiracy nuts. Explain to me how you could even figure out a formula to track taxes and then correlate it to people's cancer medical records and then mortality rate. Boy, without a digital ID, that's awfully hard to do. It's a lot of paperwork to be done. How did Ohio State University get access to that? What's the moral of the story they're trying to tell you here? Well, they're trying to say things like, well, you know, people who have more money, people who are more successful, people who pay higher taxes usually have more money. Well, they have a reduction in deaths caused by cancer. Make sure you pay your taxes too. I'm surprised they didn't have data in there about people who didn't pay their taxes. That said, if you don't pay your taxes, you have a 100% chance of getting cancer. I'm surprised they didn't mention that. I'm sure they'll do that in the next article because they're listening right now. So that's something that is floating around out there, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, it's incredible. The stuff they put out and the stuff people believe is incredible. But welcome to 2025. The world's lost its absolute mind. And the people who are responsible for it, they're going to continue to put out stuff like this because they know that there will be sheeple who believe it. That's how scary it is. I thank everybody for being here. Hope you're all doing well. God bless you and your families as always.